Well, 4 years ago in Ohio, there were complaints of dirty tricks swinging the vote for the Republicans. Yesterday, a Republican campaigner told me it was inevitable his people would contest any Democratic victory. They claim the registration procedure is wide open to abuse. In fact, right across America, individuals from both parties are accusing their opponents of vote rigging and suppression. The independent journalist Greg Palast has been investigating.
There's a war on for that White House over there. Both political parties say the other is trying to take it, not by winning the vote, but by stealing it. In fact, the Democrats say the Republicans have done it before.
You know, a lot of Europeans wonder, why are Americans so crazy? They keep reelecting this guy. Well, the answer is, we don't. You know, they keep stealing these elections. And they stole it in 2000, they stole it in 2004, and they're all set up to steal it again.
Now, the Republicans accuse the Democrats of voter fraud on a massive scale.
Republicans charge that Democrats have registered as many as 5 million illegal aliens, fakes, felons, and fraudulent voters.
So the question is, are the Democrats stuffing the rolls with millions of bogus voters, or are the Republicans blocking millions of genuine voters?
The answer's buried somewhere out here.
This is no country for old men, or young ones for that matter. It's an economic ghost town.
This is the desert town of Las Vegas, the other one, Las Vegas, New Mexico, where they made the movie No Country for Old Men. For many people, work as extras on the film was the only work they had all year. Even the candidates for office are back on horseback to save gas. Odd thing, in elections earlier this year in New Mexico, 1 in 9 people who turned up at the polls found their names had simply vanished from the voter rolls.
I wasn't on the list, and I had to do one of those.
Provisional? Okay,
Yeah.
Let me tell you, those lists came from the Secretary of State's office. The local clerk did not have anything to do with that.
What's going on here? We asked this man, County Elections Supervisor Pecos Paul Mays.
So people are losing their vote?
Yes, because they're not on the voter rolls, you know.
Even the supervisor had his own surprise.
I understand you had a problem.
I had a problem during the caucus, yes.
What happened? Your name was missing?
It was, yes.
It didn't say Pecos Paul on the voter roll?
It didn't say Pecos
Wait,
Paul.
You're the election supervisor. I didn't have your name on the voter roll?
The presidency could be decided right here. Republicans won New Mexico last time by barely 5,000 votes. Which voters have gone missing?
A lot of poor folk on this street. Officially, they don't exist. In fact, this whole street doesn't exist.
Low-income voters especially have been purged from voter rolls under new U.S. law. Republicans claim these purge laws are needed to prevent voter fraud. We caught up with one of the party's top anti-fraud crusaders at a Republican celebration. Lawyer Pat Rogers singled out Acorn, a Democratic Party-linked group.
Are the Democrats using fraudulent means to stuff the voter rolls and steal the election?
My experience in Albuquerque with the Acorn group is that they were involved in serious registration fraud. My experience in Albuquerque with the elections over the last few years have indicated that there have been isolated instances of voter fraud.
It's true that several Acorn workers were convicted of making up fake names for the voter rolls because they were paid for each name they collected. But there's no evidence that any fictional voter actually cast a ballot. Rogers still fears they'll appear in November.
If you're going to go to this effort and this expanse of having fraudulent people registered, why would you do that? People say that there is no fraud here. There is.
I drove into Detroit to investigate whether Republican plans to stop fraudulent voters might also capture innocent victims of the economic crisis. In Michigan, 62,000 families now face losing their homes to foreclosure on their mortgages. In neighborhoods like this, half the houses have been repossessed.
This house here is vacant. I mean, they're nice houses. Look at this house.
This is Robert Pratt.
Nice house right
He's next on the list.
This house here is vacant. Yeah, it's empty. This house is empty.
That makes it impossible for you to sell your house.
To sell any house. This house is vacant. Then you look across the street over there. Those houses are vacant. I work straight with no overtime, no off days. I'm talking 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. Yes.
So you're trying to get these bills paid.
Yes. I want to build. I mean, look at our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is starting to look like a battle zone.
As the neighborhood spun down into poverty and violence, his son, just 12 years old, playing in the backyard, was shot dead by a stray bullet.
This is my son. This is my son here. This is Robert.
He's lost his son, his home, and now he could lose his vote. A reporter for the Michigan Messenger wrote that the local Republican chairman told the journalist that his party would challenge residents right at the polling station to stop them from voting if their names are on a foreclosure list. The Republicans now deny this, but the Michigan Messenger sticks by its story.
There's another issue. If you lose this house, there is an allegation that the Republican Party
don't want us to vote. And that's not how, I mean, that's like saying we're not a United States citizen anymore. You know, we lose our house, we lose our right to vote. That's not right. That's not fair.
This is the second time this family has faced foreclosure. Last time, they were thrown out by a company called Trot and Trot, a firm that evicts more than 100 Michigan homeowners every day.
Trot and Trot? I mean, come on, that's a mortgage company that here in Michigan that then got a lot of peoples and put a lot of peoples out on the street. I mean, to a lot of homeowners, that's like an enemy.
'Cause there'll be hard times.
Home after home after home, foreclosed, boarded up, abandoned. But in an exclusive enclave nearby, there are no boards over the windows. These go for $10 million apiece.
Wow. No foreclosure sign on this house. This is the home of David Trott. He's Michigan's foreclosure king. No one has evicted more families in this state. What's this below the stars and stripes? Jolly Roger? Huh, it's Mr. Trott's flag. And this is Mr. Trott's office. And it's also Mr. McCain's office.
The Republicans are renting their local headquarters from Mr. Trott's eviction operation.
Greg Palast, BBC Television.
The Republicans wouldn't speak with us, but they deny they are going to use foreclosure lists to challenge voters. So we went upstairs.
And right upstairs from McCain headquarters, Mr. Trott.
David Trott not only houses the Republican Party, he's also one of their biggest Michigan contributors. He and his wife have given hundreds of thousands to the party. McCain's just given up on Michigan, yet the foreclosure controversy remains key to swing states Nevada and Florida. And now to the critical swing state of Colorado, where SUVs have replaced the buffaloes that used to roam the plains.
According to this report, Colorado voters are going the way of the buffalo. They're disappearing.
This government report says that nearly 1 in 5 voters, 19.4%, were taken off the rolls. Democrats accuse Republican Secretary of State Danetta Davidson of orchestrating the purge, but she says local officials have the final say over voter rolls.